All right, we're live. We're
Ooh,
live. No,
baby.
no intro, no fancy intro video today. None of that.
Oh, I love
Just
it.
we were out drinking last night, and we were talking about this tweet that Beef had. So we wanted to just kind of jump in and kind of walk through some of the like. There were a lot of ideas. There were a lot of
Yeah.
ideas and a lot of good ones. We're gonna have someone jump in with us
Yeah, I love it.
unexpectedly. Uh,
Yes.
Dave, what's up, buddy?
Dave, how you doing, baby?
What the fuck so funny?
Nothing. It's good to see you, man. Been a while.
It is. We should be obsessing over some fucking player we've never heard of hitting 400 in Arizona right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We should. This person making a run for the roster. We're not doing
Yes.
that right now. It kind of sucks.
Not doing that. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame.
So now we're relegated to talking about the problem that we had going into the offseason that we are well aware of. And that's the White Sox starting pitching. I think everyone kind of feels there were a few people in the comments that were like, hey, just relax. Right. Like it's gonna be fine. We got a good team and just relax. But Beef put this tweet out basically saying, we need starting pitching. No one really, there's a few people that say don't worry about it. I think most people are like, I would like to see some more depth. I would like to see something happen. And so what you get is, how do you do that within a 26-man roster? And I think so one of the first ideas, and Dave, you're in this next slide here because it's the kind of going 6-man rotation, right? Like I know Steve mentioned it, you mentioned it. And then I like the Comiskey North, basically ask the Dodgers how they do it. And
yeah,
use the
IL, right?
That's true.
Slide guys over to the IL for a week or two and manage it that way, right?
So Dave, since you were one of the people here that thought, let's try and do this, give us some thoughts on like what you're thinking, how you think this would work within the 26.
I think we can all agree that Gio, Lynn, and Cease is not good enough, right?
Right.
So, and Kopech's the wild card. Obviously, we all know his ceiling, but we know that he's going to be on a very strict innings limit, pitch count, blah, blah, blah. 3.5 right there. You got to fill in. I'd say like a good, solid World Series contending team probably has 7 guys they can go to that they wouldn't mind handing the ball to in a pinch. Obviously, there's going to be better pitchers towards the front of the rotation, but I'm operating. I don't give a flying fuck about Dallas Keuchel this year. I do. And I know he's expensive. I know he's a veteran, team leader, blah blah blah. But like, this is World Series or bust now. Like, put up or shut up. So give him his shot as he ease Kopech into being able to pitch every 5 days. And I brought up Cool at your guys' thing in January, and then Severino's still out there, and he's someone who can be effective. Give you 6 innings, 3-4 runs, and keep you in a ball game every handful of starts. So he came to mind, and he wouldn't be expensive, I don't think. But I'm not promising Dallas Keuchel anything. And if he's dominating, the first 2-3 months of the year, and people start worrying about his contract being picked up for next year because he's got to hit 160, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if that's a good problem to have, in my opinion, then you do it all again next year. So, but he's got to earn it just like everybody else. And you mentioned Boris, like being pissed off. Boris, he knows how competition works. If Dallas Keuchel's sitting here on June 1st with a ERA north of 5 like he was last year, then sorry, Dallas, you're shit out.
There's nothing he could say at that point. I agree with you. Yeah.
The Boris part comes in more if you're going to try and do that Dodgers style rotation of putting guys on the IL for a short stint or things like that.
I think that
Boris is not gonna allow that to happen because
and pitchers are weirdos. They're creatures of habit. They have to have, every 5 days. I could be completely wrong here. I don't know if the, Cease, Lynn, or Gio would want that, On paper, that sounds like a great idea because you're keeping everybody fresh and, 200 innings pitched are basically a thing of the past. But I'm not worried about Dallas Keuchel and where he slides into the rotation. He has to be better. I think he knows that as much as anybody.
Yeah, and I think the general idea of this whole thing, like most Sox fans are like Keuchel stunk last year. Even if you're someone who I think Treasy and I think will get a little bit of a dead cat bounce, that's still a fifth starter at best on a good team, right? So this is like the old Mike McD from Rounders. Always leave yourself outs, right? The
Mhm.
Sox aren't leaving themselves enough outs, and that's what Sox fans feel is the pressure here. I like your idea of Michael Pineda too. I like a nice thick boy,
Oh, yeah.
putting in the rotation there. Like it's a nice choice there. Yeah, I mean, working the IL is kind of a way to do this, but you're totally right. I mean, I haven't sketched out what I think the innings are going to be for everybody, but I mean, you're already light with knowing Kopech's not going to give you a full amount of innings. And the rest of these guys got ridden hard a little bit last year. And you saw, at least with Lynn in the second half, he wasn't as effective. You know, they rode him really fucking hard, and maybe they want to not do that this year. So I think there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of basis behind the idea of put another guy in here and then let Tony figure it out. Let Ethan Katz figure out how you're going to distribute the starts, distribute the innings to these guys.
That's a good point, Beef, because I mean, like one thing that we've been told, that we've been fed, is that Tony La Russa is this very good manager who's and he's supposed to be better than what Ricky Renteria was, right? So why not give him a problem like this? Why not give him 6 starting pitchers with Lopez in the bullpen and say,
right,
do something, figure it out.
Yeah, it's your job. There you go.
So let's take a look at the kind of one of the next ideas that came up quite a bit, and this is where it gets a little bit difficult. And I like the fact that in this first tweet that they say try to trade him, and if you can't, cut him. And so I think that gives you a little bit of idea of what trade value he might have, right? Like if a consideration is eat $20 million and cut him, the trade value is not really there. So
right.
I thought through a couple guys that you might be able to trade Dallas Keuchel for, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on those. So the way I was looking at this was like, there's been a bad contract traded this offseason. Jackie Bradley Jr. got traded back to the Red Sox.
Boston, yeah.
And like, I think they sent 2 prospects with him, and Hunter Renfroe came the other way. Honestly, I'd take Hunter Renfroe in right field right now. But but the money ends up being about the same because of Renfroe's got 2 more ARB years left. And Jackie Bradley Jr. had like 17 million. He has a weird contract. Like he has an $8 million buyout at the end of it. So the money's about the same, and you sent some prospects. I don't think the Sox really have the prospects to do that, but there are some guys out there where the money is bad and you might be able to make a move. So listen to the first one and don't yell at me. It's a possibility. And you'd have to go, I take this guy to bounce back over this guy. And that is getting Madison Bumgarner from the Diamondbacks. Ooh. Now the Diamondbacks would probably have to send us money in that case.
Right.
But
a lot of it, yeah.
But Bumgarner,
a long deal still.
then adds a pitcher in replace of Keuchel, but maybe it's worse. Maybe it's about the same. Like, what are your thoughts on something like that?
I'm out on Bumgarner. I mean, he's got like probably 5 years left on
his deal, owed like 60 more million.
Yeah, he's signed through 2024.
His contract it decreases over time. So he gets cheaper each year.
Okay, so you gotta look at that two ways.
It's 60 million.
60 million. So what was his total contract?
It was 5 and 85.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was over 100 for some reason. So that's 17 a year, I believe.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Roughly. Okay, so that's what you got to take in. So as it sits right now, we don't know what's going to happen once they do ratify a new CBA. But as it sits right now, you got to take the average annual amount, and that's what counts towards the CBT tax, and they're going to be up close against it. So
right. Yep.
if that's the case, I don't know. I mean, it's a wash this year because I think Keuchel's about the same.
Yeah, I think Keuchel makes 20 this year. So, yeah, I mean, Keuchel might be a slightly more hit this year, but then out in those further years, when you start shedding players and you're going to really need to add in free agency, that's painful. Yeah, it's rough on the CBT.
So let me give you a different guy then. And this is you absolutely need to go out and get pitching after you make this trade. because you won't have filled any pitching spots with this. But sending him to the Phillies, where the Phillies have flexibility in their fifth spot, because right now I think they have Hans Kraus penciled in there, but he's got options, so they could keep him in the minors and take back Didi Gregorius. The money, you might have to send them some money, but yeah, I mean, there's your second baseman, I guess.
Treasy, we can't trade Kimbrel and Keuchel for Didi Gregorius. Yeah. Okay, we're only going to get one of them out of
I would trade both of them for Gregorius.
Just get rid of that money. Just get it off the books.
Exactly.
But I mean, like that's a guy. That's a guy I think that is in the running there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I mean, would I do that one? Probably. I'd probably add up the middle, because right now you're sitting on Tim Anderson and then Lurie Garcia and then whatever else we have laying around there, Romy Gonzalez and those guys. So you are pretty weak up the middle right now. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know that anyone would do that. And also, there's a certain level of, we're gonna need like in that situation, Treasy, we're gonna need Keuchel's innings at some point, right? This team is gonna be able to slug their way to some stuff. We probably need 100 or 120 of those Keuchel innings, even if they suck, just to soak up the first couple months of the year, so we don't burn these other guys out.
Right? Yeah, and like, since it's a 1-year deal, like that's why I am so just apathetic to what he's making this year and who he's represented by and what he's done in the past. Like, if he needs to be that sacrificial lamb to me, bombs away, but that doesn't, like, I don't, they have to make a move, whether it's a trade for, I know Manaea's been floated out there. So is Chris Bassett coming back to Chicago.
Yeah.
They have to have a fourth pitcher that you're like, okay, he's getting the ball against the Astros tonight in Game 4. I feel good about my chances of winning. Right now, that's not Dallas Keuchel, but you're going to need him for the regular season, like Beef said, to soak up those innings. So, like I said, Los in the Twitter thread, I know.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the free agent starting pitchers, he's the best one out there. I mean, I don't think it's particularly close, unless you really believe in like big bounce backs from someone like Clayton Kershaw or Zach Greinke, that like the over the hill crowd. Otherwise, the starting pitcher market in the free agency is pretty weak. It's really just Los and then those old guys.
Yeah, Greinke's I think 38. So I mean,
and he
got to bounce back.
He wasn't that good last year. Like, he was pedestrian last year.
Yeah, he's cooked. Who knows if he even wants to play anymore? He might, but I would imagine it's only under his exact parameters. Like, where's he from? I don't know, Los Angeles or wherever. No, I think he's a Florida kid. Yeah. I don't know. He go play for Tampa for whatever they pay him. And
the Roger Clemens, I don't travel, I just play home games.
Yeah, exactly right. Because he's made a fortune already, right?
In LA,
Yeah. He's made a shitload of money.
Like Los, how many innings did Los have last year? Like 140?
Let me look that up real quick. I think it was in the 130, 140 range. Give me a second
something
here.
Like that. It's like we saw his ceiling finally last year, and that's a Cy Young ceiling. And assuming that that is who he is, especially when you pair him with Ethan Katz, and then I don't see why people are like, no, the White Sox know he's hurt. They know he's hurt. He was just gassed last year. Everybody knows that.
Right. Yep.
Playoff game, he was in the first inning and 2 innings, whatever. He was 98, 99 again,
Yep.
Obviously, that's adrenaline, but you're not doing that if you have elbow or shoulder problems. So,
right. It's not, you ain't popping off like that. He threw 132 and 2/3 innings last year, and he was absolutely fucking dominant.
That's
in that amount of time.
That's a great segue. That's a great segue to this next idea of having openers, since we're going to need to limit innings on some guys, right? Especially on Kopech, you're going to need to limit innings. So using pitchers as openers, and you technically have two guys that were drafted to be starters in your bullpen right now. I like the Kimbrel idea, but also you have Crochet and you have Lopez, right? Putting Crochet in front of Kopech is an interesting idea, right? Because you have the opposite handedness to mess with the other team trying to stack their lineup. Who are you going to stack it against? Right. You have, and then if you put someone like Lopez or even Kimbrel in front of a Dallas Keuchel, again, the different handedness, but also a difference in speed of, a good 10 miles per hour each way. So I think there's some there's some
There's merit to it, right? I mean, there's
some merit to
doing
this idea of saying, like, let's have some openers. What do you guys think about having openers in front of some of our starters?
I get why it works on premise or the theories behind it. Kimbrel's he's born bred for the back end of a bullpen. Like I don't know if that would work. Like I in theory I understand why it would work, but I don't know if he's the guy for that personally.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't mind the idea of like trying it with Kimbrel. My big objection to this is what Dave was talking about in the very first segment is that pitchers are creatures of habit, and if we're trying to make Michael Kopech a starting pitcher, let's make him a fucking starting pitcher. And you're really going to disrupt how a starting pitcher works if he doesn't come out until
if he doesn't
the third
actually
inning.
start.
Yeah, exactly. If he shows up in the third inning and that's kind of a weird like hybrid role or whatever. I think you're trying to mature him there. With Keuchel, I care less about that because, like Dave said, we're just soaking up these innings. We just need him to gobble up these innings. So I would be less, but then that's something you got to deal with all the egos and shit in the locker room. I don't know how all that plays. Maybe it's worth like, hey, we're just going to short start you because we know you've been ineffective. So Dallas, you're going to get one time through the order, and then we're going to back you up. And maybe that's the way to do it instead of doing the technical opener strategy. The opener strategy tends to not be in front of like real starting pitchers. The opener strategy tends to be in front of, hey, we got a bulk reliever here who can throw us 3 innings. So we're going to put that good guy up there for inning number 1 because it's a high leverage inning. You got the top of your order up there. We'll put a good reliever in that spot, and maybe we give him 4 to 6 outs if he gets out. And then we're just putting this bulk guy behind him. That's not really a starting pitcher, but he's got some length. So I don't know if it. I think in theory it could work, but I don't think we'll see it come to fruition.
Here's this for an idea. How about they just have 5 really good starting pitchers and they pitch until they're no longer effective in that game, and then if like there's hurt or injuries or or they get beat around the park for a few starts, then you go to a long reliever like a Lopez, and then you have a couple of guys on deck in AAA should they need a spot start here. How about that for a strategy?
Well, that'd be ideal, baby.
So I think I realize I spelled reliever wrong in here, by the way. But yeah, I think that
close enough.
The AAA depth is problematic though.
Yeah, it's
Dave.
very problematic.
And so this is something that came up is like, look, you're not going to really ask guys anymore to pitch a ton of innings. It's just not how things work. So maybe go get another reliever. We have a shitload of relievers though. I mean, like, and the bullpen's expensive as is. So the thing I could see here, other than my incredibly bad typo, is is adding another reliever and pushing Garrett Crochet into AAA to build him up as a starter. Like if you're going to try and get value, the true value that you wanted out of Garrett Crochet, he needs to become a starter. So could you do that? Could you go out and get somebody and then make that bullpen full enough where you say Crochet doesn't need to be in it? And if there's an injury or there's someone, if Keuchel is no good, then Crochet is probably the guy we're going to go to.
I think it's tough to pivot out of that spot, though. Let's say they do go down that path, and then you're like, oh, shit, Aaron Bummer has an injury or something. We need a shutdown lefty, and it's like, fuck, too bad. Crochet's on the farm somewhere, throwing every 5 days. It's hard to pivot back out of that. And you want to put, I think Dave and I are on the same page on this one. You want to put your best 26 on this roster. You're trying to win a World Series right fucking now. So I get like the long-term value of Crochet. He's valuable throwing 60 innings as a killer in this bullpen right now.
I agree. I wouldn't move Crochet right now. Maybe next year. There's a lot of money coming off the books next year too. I think it's Abreu, right? Or is he got
Abreu's done after this year. That's correct. He comes off in 2023.
Yep. Kimbrel, right there off the top of my head, that's like $60 million.
Yep.
So I mean, you could go out and buy those relievers again next year and add Crochet to the bullpen or to the rotation next year. But right now, him and Bummer, I think, are just too important. Like that back end on paper, I know it wasn't like this a lot of last year, but that back end is just awesome right now. And I really don't think that Kimbrel's going to be so bad again. Like it was his command just for whatever reason waved bye. And if he isn't traded and he is in Chicago, then like that's a pretty awesome bullpen.
I think it's pretty tough to trade him right now. It seems that like since you've made the commitment of we're going to pay him for this year, and trading him is going to be very difficult, especially now you're going to have to try and trade him in like a very short period of time.
Right. Yeah.
Like I think you just start with him. Like, and a few people have said this. Like, hey, if he's going good and you have way too much bullpen depth, which I don't even know how you could have, you could trade him then.
Right.
But like. But if he's going good, you just go. You just
Let's go. Yeah.
just have the super bullpen, right?
Yeah.
So the one last.
Hey, one quick thing on that point, Treasy, before we move on. I like the Yusmeiro Petit idea because having a rubber arm in your bullpen is really nice. I remember like the 2008, 2009 era White Sox had DJ Carrasco. And you could bring DJ Carrasco in any situation, and that motherfucker would throw 3 decent innings and it'd be like, oh shit, we got bailed out of this thing because we got one rubber arm out there. I don't know if Lopez can become that guy, but it would be nice to have a guy like that, especially on this roster. Like this roster is built for give me one bullpen guy that's just a fucking rubber arm. Is going to throw me 90 innings out of the pen randomly when I need him. You know,
you're paying Lopez like he's going to do that.
I mean, maybe that's the guy. Maybe you just say, you know what, he was good in a 1 inning situation they were using him in last year, but maybe just stretch it a little bit and let him be that guy. You know,
no, agreed. And then this idea here, and so this is one way of putting this, which was pick up Danny Duffy, who's I think he's on the shelf until the middle of the season, so he'd go onto your 60-day IL, and then he's an option when he comes back. But not even that. So not even like a guy that's going to be on the shelf. But are there guys that you'd want? You know, if we're confident in Ethan Katz, are there guys out there that you'd say I would take this guy on a minor league deal? And maybe this helps provide some depth, or a few guys, so that like if one of them hits, right? Like, so one guy that comes to my mind is Carlos Martinez, who has fallen off with the Cardinals. The Cardinals have no interest in keeping him around. So he's out there. He's definitely going on a minor league deal somewhere, but he's a Javi Vasquez-esque kind of guy who has like 100 different pitches he's trying to throw. And like, it feels like a guy like Ethan Katz might be able to go like, look, throw 3 pitches well, and don't worry about the rest of this. And like, let's focus you. And maybe he only ever gets back to the level of being a reliever, but maybe he does give you a starting pitcher. Like that's a kind of guy who's got a ceiling, like a ceiling that you've seen. So like something like that. There's other guys out there too, some with injuries like Fulte and you know, some guys that just never kind of got there, like Jacob Junis. So like, what do you think about adding some like non-roster invitees to the mix?
I love it. My guy, even way back when we were doing the Sox Machine offseason plans, my guy is Vince Velasquez. He's never been good, but he's a great athlete. Like if there's one, like if Ethan Katz could turn an athlete guy into a real pitcher, someone like that feels like, man, he could figure it out. And maybe he doesn't end up being a very good starter, but you get something out of him. And he's a guy you could probably put on a minor league deal and kind of use as an up and down guy for 1 year.
He's dirty, man.
Yeah, if he could ever harness all that shit, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right. Like he's another guy that I feel like and just throws like 12 different pitches. It's like I think it was it might have been Muhammad Ali. He's like, the difference between me and other boxers is I practice one punch a million times. They practice a million punches one time, or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
I'm the quote a little bit, but you get the point.
Yeah.
If you like, he's a guy I didn't even realize he was still out there. Like, if you can hone in on just the electricity that is residing in his right arm, he's filthy. You know, and we saw it with Los last year. Like, he was, you know, a high ceiling guy that, you know, had all the prospect pedigree in the world, especially going into his draft year, and one winner with Ethan Katz, and look what happened. So
he refined it. The same thing with Cease, though. The same thing with Cease. Like, Cease is a terrific athlete, right? Mm-hmm. And he couldn't, like, I made fun of him on tons of 108 stuff. And Rick Giolito came in and smacked the shit out of me and said, no, Ethan Katz is the pitcher whisperer. He's going to get the most out of him. And then Cease crushed last year and led the Sox in strikeouts. And he honed all that athleticism in and was able to become a productive pitcher. I would love to see Ethan Katz get a shot at a couple guys like that who have fallen off a little bit. Like, and Velasquez to me was the number one guy. Like we saw him when he had to play left field against the Sox, and he threw out, I forget who the fuck he threw out from left field in the outfield when he's out there in that 16 inning game a couple years ago. I'm like, this guy's a great athlete, man. Look at it. Just threw a random pitcher out there and he's fucking gunning guys out of the plate. Like amazing shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's.
We'll see a bunch of those non-roster guys too. Like, oh, that guy's still in the league, but I don't know. They I understand, like, at the very core of this, I don't know if you want to call it a debate, but is how are they going to squeeze all these guys into a 26-man roster?
Yeah, that was my main question, actually.
Right. That's what I'm trying to get it back to is like I want the best 26-man roster possible, and if like money shouldn't be an issue, if like for a high-paid player, I'm talking about Dallas Keuchel. Dallas Keuchel should. I don't care how much money he's making, how long he's been in the league, how many Cy Youngs he has. I don't care about that, and he's got to earn it. And if that means he's got to outpitch a Chris Bassett or Sean Manaea or a trade piece or a signee or whoever, then that's what he has to do. Otherwise, you're out of here. So I think it should be a lot easier than people are making it out to be. But we know that's not exactly how they operate at the same time. So
yeah.
I like your idea. Stuff the roster. And hey, whoever shakes out, and tough shit, Dallas. If you come out in your first 5 starts and you suck like you did last year, you get the John Danks treatment. Yeah. You get Danksed out of here. Not when he threw the guy off the balcony. I'm talking about when he got cut. All right. And let's just straighten that out. And when he got cut from the team, when he was ineffective.
Yeah, let's not get that other John Danks treatment.
We don't need that. Allegedly. By the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all kind of on the same page here. Is there's a spot that probably currently held by Jose Ruiz, and we're more than willing to go. Don't hold that spot. Put a starting pitcher in that spot, and then let's figure it out. Right? Yep. Let's say, let's have let's really put some burden on the back end of this bullpen that we've paid so much for.
Yeah.
And say, look, you guys got to pitch a lot. We're going to have 6 starting pitchers. You guys are going to have to pitch a little bit more. And Ronaldo Lopez, you're going to have to pitch a lot for a reliever.
Spots too.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Long relief. Yeah.
You might have to come in the 3rd inning some random day and pitch us out of it and get through the 5th. Like he's going to have to stretch out and be a real guy in those spots.
And he showed last year, I think he's capable of that. Like, I don't think he was awesome last year by any means, but like all things considered, like more than happy to have him back,
Yeah,
sure. Absolutely. Well, fellas, want to thank Dave. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Moment's notice.
That's like an inside joke I have is whenever you want to invite yourself. It's long story, and I just write, "Can I come?" with no question mark or anything. Like, sure, dude, like, if you want. But thanks for having me. I look forward to seeing you guys soon, hopefully.
Yeah, let's have a drink in person soon.
Let's throw a few back. I was gonna say, let's do it.
I'm into that. I got a jambalaya in the crock pot right now.
Oh, you're doing it nice. Right today, my friend. I love it.
So it won't be today. Today's a me day. But
all right, man. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you.
Yeah, take care, everybody.